Continuum is a practice. So first and foremost, it's something that we do and cumulatively over time, like a meditation practice or a Qigong practice. It evolves you, it deepens you, it is a vehicle of inquiry and exploration. And so inquiry is about asking questions. And the way we go about asking those questions or exploring those questions, not necessarily answering them, but exploring them, is through movement, particularly fluid movement. So this is the template of how water moves, because the body is water. And it's curvilinear. There's nothing linear in this entire structure, in this architecture. And it was created by the movement of water in the embryo. So it's about fluid movement, it's about breath. It's about how the breath breathes us, how we move with the breath, and how we receive the breath, how we release the breath, and how we just track it and be with it and notice it and feel it, because that is the life force. It initiates us into life and it initiates us into death. And then sound, vibration. So we're interested in sounds, not in how they sound, but in how they feel. We're interested in using sound as cues or impulses or sources of stimulation for movement, because the essence of motion really is frequency. Different sounds have different qualities to them. When we think about language and how all the different languages on the planet and all the different ways that we inflect and tone and the pitch and all of that has a profound resonance in a fluid system. So all the sounds that we use are not verbal words, they're pre-lingual. It's really part of the fun of Continuum, is playing with the sound. At its heart, Continuum is an improvisational self-directed practice. So it's not like anything else out there in the land of somatic practices, partly because it is improvisational and self-directed. So every time you practice, you have no idea what's going to happen, and you can't repeat it ever again. So it has that beautiful quality of impermanence and ephemerality. Then we bring in attention. Where is the attention happening? And so when we practice Continuum, you are engaging your attention in the felt sense experience. So we're not in a cognating, analyzing, conceptual place when we practice. We're in a sensing, feeling, interoception place. It's very much about being present and present and present. And so those are really the 5 pieces to Continuum: the fluid movement, the breath, the sound vibration, the attention, and felt sensation. And then holding it all is inquiry. And the inquiries can be about anything, even just the basic inquiry of, what am I? What is this thing we call a body? We don't really know that answer. We're still asking this very fundamental question as a species. So Continuum is a way of answering that question. And it's not that we don't make meaning. We make a lot of meaning, but we're more interested in the experience. Because as soon as we bring sound and fluid movement into our experience, we come out of a kind of civilized, organized, patterned way of being. And most of us are very organized around patterns and habits and behaviors that are learned. So Continuum starts to dive under all of that and deconstruct all of that so that you can find out, well, yes, these are patterns and habits and behaviors that make up who I perceive myself to be, but what else is there? What else? So Continuum's like that. What else? You go into it every time you practice. What's here now? What's here today? So Continuum's been used to explore a lot of different things. Emilie Conrad created Continuum. That's the founder and my mentor. And she worked with paralysis in people as a way to see, could she help them actually access more sensation? And could she actually grow new nerve tissue? Because so one of the things we know about this body, it's regenerative. So I think we're just now, at least in our scientific understanding, coming to a place where we're really trying to harness, well, what does make the body regenerate actually? So for us in Continuum, we have a mascot that we admire and look to as for inspiration, and that's the octopus. It's like the ultimate fluid mover, the ultimate being that really understands shape-shifting and metamorphosis and elasticity, which is inherent in this system. So, we have this incredible overlay in our current, particularly Western culture, of mechanization. And, this started a long time ago, looking at the body as a machine, but it's not at all. Again, there's nothing linear in here. This is an organic structure that evolved out of the ocean as part of the web of life. We're looking at the movements of water. And we're looking at, because we are water, and because every bone in your body is, spiraled and curvilinear, there's nothing in here that, like I said, there's nothing in here that's linear. So water is informing the shaping of the architecture. And we're designed, even the way our tissue's designed in our body, we're designed so that we can twist and go on diagonals. So when we move like the ocean, we start to think like the ocean. Emilie she had this great saying, how you move is how you think. So if you move like a machine, you're going to think like a machine. Well, Continuum just allows us to be so much more than our projected laid over ideas of what a machine can be. In the body, the connective tissue, which we call fascia, is like an internet. And, it's that aspect of us that is communicating from one part of us to another part of us. It's sending information everywhere so that everybody in here knows what's going on with everybody else in here. And so when that tissue of fascia is supple, when it's elastic, when it's mobile, when it's hydrated, because it is made of structured water, then it's healthy, it's dynamic, it has a capacity to receive. But because our culture is very sedentary and mechanistic, what happens is the fascia tends to become stiff or compressed, and then that tissue starts to lose its aliveness, essentially, its capacity, its adaptability, and we become limited. So our culture does have this unconscious preference that I think we're conditioned towards, a rigid body, a hard body, if you will, as an aesthetic. But from the experience of being hard in a body, it doesn't feel so good. So when we're in a softer, more fluid, de-densified body, we're actually creating an organism that's more buoyant, that's more receptive. And so part of what we're navigating, you and I and all of us, is living in a culture that's speeding up. And in order to go faster, we compress. And so that compression, if it becomes chronic, it's like an inhale that never exhales. So Continuum takes us into that exhale. And that exhale gets bigger and deeper and wider and fuller. And then we come back into the inhale. Well, the inhale's different now because we've gone into a big exhale. So over time, that symbolic and literal shift in the tissue of being able to inhale deeper and exhale deeper changes our relationship with everything and everyone, most importantly, ourselves. So when you come to class or a workshop to start learning Continuum, there's a period of time where a teacher is just going to talk and lay out some context so that you have some idea of what you're getting yourself into. But eventually you're going to lay on the floor and you're going to experience making a sound and feeling that sound, and then seeing if you can feel a little bit of reaction to that sound through the fluids of your body. So it might start with something as simple as your hand or the side of your head. Can I feel sound here? Again, it's not about how the sound sounds, it's how the sound feels. And we work with our eyes closed. So this is not performative. You're not looking around the room, looking at anybody else. You're in your own experience. You're moving at your own pace. You're sounding at your own pace. The movements that come out of you are organic to you. What we're asking, or what we're inviting people to really explore, is the fluid aspect of it. So if you find yourself going into some kind of pattern that you know from ballet or yoga or something, you pause. It's not that that's wrong, but you already know that. Your body already knows that pattern. So what else? What else? So I might do like an O sound, and then I'm just going to follow that sound and see how it moves my body. But you have to get through all your taboos. You have to get through all the ones in you that are like, this feels weird. Why am I doing this? This is not civilized. Ooh, I'm feeling sensation. I'm feeling pleasure. Maybe I shouldn't feel pleasure here. You have to get through all of that. And for some of us, it's like, hallelujah, I'm there, boom. And for some of us, it's like, it takes a long time, layer by layer, just a little more pleasure. So we titrate it piece by piece, day by day. And everybody's different. It requires a level of willingness to go into a movement language that's free form and not civilized, not mechanistic, not repetitive. Not that anything like that is bad, it's not. We need to have repetitive movement in our life. But if that's all we're limited to is just repetitive habitual movement, we're missing out on this enormous repertoire of possibility. Movement is It's a language that we all have been speaking forever and ever and ever, that we have unconsciously limited. And we've placed taboos and judgments on it, particularly fluid movement. And if you give yourself permission to enter this arena and move your body fluidly, you will start to feel so much pleasure and eros just in the movement. And eros is, to me, eros is really, this is the life force that we're all participating in while we get to be embodied in this phenomenal realm. And so to the degree that I can experience my life force and have the vitality and the aliveness to be present in the world and to experience whatever it is I'm experiencing, or create whatever it is I want to create. I'm not enacting some sort of pattern I learned from someone. It's coming through me. It's being expressed as me in that moment. So there's this quality of continuum that's really about newness, the importance of newness as nourishment, as an evolving process. When we try to concretize and calcify this situation, and this is me, I'm staying here in this lane, and I do these things, we sacrifice a certain amount of vitality, because newness, when we experience new things, when we meet new people, when we are in that realm, it's a source of nourishment. For an organism, that's all about evolving, growing. Like, we can actually evolve and grow until the moment we're gone. It's a choice. It's a state of awareness. Continuum is a way to arrive and be safe. And I think part of that is that we come to understand that I determine my safety, and actually I can determine my safety, because now I'm here. I'm in here. And when we have that kind of agency and authority, it's powerful. It changes our relationships. It changes how we organize in life. I mean, what I see in the world, frankly, is just the incredible suffering of people not loving themselves. And continuum is a way in. It's a doorway, a gateway, a threshold through which we can love the body and love ourselves, and love this opportunity we have to be alive through this experience of a body. We are relational beings, and the pain we are suffering now as a collective and personally from being out of relationship in various expressions of separation, not quite knowing how to connect authentically because we're so busy trying to mimic each other rather than actually go into the inquiry of who I am. Continuum is this incredible place of curiosity. We're always bringing curiosity over and over and over to whatever it is we're meeting, in our sensation, rather than just shutting it down and turning it off. And we're at a time where, people are just shutting down, drugging and drinking and Netflixing and just going into any kind of distraction and shutdown they can in order to not feel the pain. Because we have this distorted, illusory perception that we're separate and we're individual, but we're not. We're an organism. Like all the cells in our body create our body. Our body is a cell in the organism of humanity and in the organism of the planet. And this planet is a cell in the organism of the universe. And Emilie Conrad would say this. She would say that all the water everywhere, whether it's in a cell, in a body, in an ocean, in the universe, all of it is one resonant whole organism. And I would say that our very cutting edge current science is finally corroborating this. That's exactly what it is. And so we're at this incredible threshold place where we're trying to break through a glass ceiling of theories and ideas of what a human is to a new whole stratosphere of what a human is. And we need something to hold on to that'll help us not completely implode. And I think continuum is one of the things. I won't say it's the only thing, but one of the most beautiful possible practices to support us in meeting a whole new paradigm that we're facing. So that's the radical capacity of continuum, is to really completely and totally shape-shift our consciousness into one of resonance and love and kindness, because undulation is the movement of love. And everything sensual and alive undulates. It doesn't move in a straight line. There is no absolute straight line in anything living. It's moving and it's interacting with everything else in its relational world. And so, one of the challenges in coming to continuum is, can you allow yourself to experience wave motion, which is undulation? And you think about where we see undulation. Well, it's in hula dancing. It's in belly dancing. That's, you can see it really clearly. It's also in lovemaking, right? But this is why it's taboo, because when you undulate, you feel so alive, you feel so good, you feel so much pleasure, you feel so much arousal, you want to get out of bed every day. You want to be a creator. You want to interact with the world. You want to be alive. You want to be here. Yum. I want that. That's what I want. That's what I like.